What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the Thomas Gallery, and today I want to talk about a question that I've been asked for quite some time, and I never really had an answer for it until recently, so figure why not do a video about it. I've always been asked, well, you draw so well, and you do all these other things so well, like in terms of art and drawing. What are your most favorite things about drawing, and what are your least favorite things about drawing? And that's a good question. That's a really good question. I've never actually thought about this, thought about before until someone posed a question to me. But it's a very good question to ask because as artists, you know, there's always parts about something that we don't like or we wish we were better at, or things that we love to do, or things like parts that we love to draw or paint. So that's a very valid question. So I will start off with the thing I don't like to do the most. Although it's the most necessary part, it's the most important part of drawing or painting, but I don't like it. It's a mentality I need to change. The preparation. Meaning, normally when you're doing a drawing, or especially when you're actually doing a painting, normally when you're doing a painting, right, there's the preposition, not preposition, the positioning aspect of painting and drawing. Meaning, before you start adding on layers of ink or graphite or paint onto the what you're drawing on, you have to take the time to quote unquote map out what you're drawing, the composition, what the actual piece will have on the canvas or on paper. And I don't like it because for me, I don't know about other people, but for me, I have to sit there. Okay, I have the idea in my head. The idea is already in my head, no problem. Now, me putting it on paper means that I have to take into account the size of the paper or the canvas. I have to take into account how big something has to be in relationship to how small it has to be, and depending on the effect I want to give, whatever effect I want to give. If I want to give a three-dimensional look, if I want to do like a 2D flat, if I want to do an abstract piece, I have to take into account the placement of all the pieces in the composition. I take that into account. I have it in my head, but now I have to put what's in my brain onto the paper or canvas or whatever. And that takes a lot of time. That takes a lot of time, because you gotta think, okay, depending on how your brain works. My brain is very detailed. I like detail in things. Okay? So because of that, I have to make sure that I have space for all the details I want to show. Whether it be a belt buckle, whether it be the highlights on the eyeball, whether it be the highlights on the hair, it can be a chain link, it can be the lines on the fingers of someone's fist, the fingernails, the toes, the fingernail. This isn't always the case. There are some shortcuts you can take where you don't have to draw every single minute detail. But in terms of me, the way my brain works, I like as much detail as I can give, without going overboard. But the detail may be, if I'm drawing a person in a suit, right? I gotta take into account the stitching on the suit. I gotta take into account the different folds of the suit, the folds of the fabric. What kind of suit is it? A pinstripe, checker, whatever it is. Those things go into the composition because I like me. This is my preference. I like as realistic as possible. You know what they call photorealistic. I like that, and I grew up admiring that and emulating that in all the drawings I've seen, all the paintings I've seen, I like that. So it has trained my brain into thinking that way. Now I can do other styles. I could do abstract. I could do other things like that. But I like to know that if I'm drawing like a watch, if I'm drawing a watch, I like to see the different dials in the watch, the numbers, the reflective surface of the metal. I like that. But all of that has to be put into the preparation of the composition. And that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time. A lot of time. There are times where I want to just draw a piece of it's like a watch or something like that, and just do all the shortcuts, just throw some paint to kind of give the idea of realism, but just is like very, very, looks almost unfinished. However, every single time I get into a piece, whether it be a drawing or a painting, every time I say to myself, okay, I'm not going to get too detailed with this, right? Every time I say that to myself, and I get into the composition part of it, I get to the drawing part of it, right? Every time I say this to myself, I'm not going to get detailed. I want to get kind of messy with this. I won't get detailed. Every time I say that, for some reason, my brain will eventually start adding detail to it. Just little small nuances that the average viewer may not notice. The average viewer may not pick it up. So, I'm not doing it for the normal viewer or whoever's looking at the piece. I'm not really doing it for them. They may not even notice it. However, my brain is fixed as such. No matter how messy I want to get with it and very kind of unfinished look, I always end up adding detail. To the point where if I see that there's no more detail you can put on there, like all the detail that's necessary has been put there, you don't need to add any more. There are times I have to stop myself because I will go overboard with the detail when it really at times no need to, right? So the preparation, the line, having to draw each and every line, even if the viewer doesn't even see all the lines, every single line that I will put, the eyelashes, the individual hairs of the eyebrows. Now there's some shortcuts, that's true. The individual strands of hair, the different folds of fabric, like I said. Like what if there's a coat that has like some kind of frizz to it, or a fur hat? The different, because of the light and the shadow bouncing off the hairs of the fur hat, you may have to give the illusion of depth. That all of that goes into the preparation part. All of that goes into the drawing aspect, so you can have a blueprint or a map to follow as you are coloring or as you are painting along the way. Okay, to your finished product. So the preposition part, the composition, is my least favorite. My least favorite. Now, my most favorite, what I love to do the most is, well, I'll play this. I'll start from the least, then the middle, then my most. In the middle, it's kind of like a love-hate. Love-hate with this one. Let's say I'm doing a drawing, right? And once I've did all the composition, did all the penciling, all of the drawings, all of the details that goes into the composition. With my drawings, I may ink. I may take like a Sharpie, or not a Sharpie, but like a fine point marker, and trace the outlines. Now, all I'm actually doing is redrawing everything all over again. I know that, but it's kind of in the middle with me because I've now gotten all of the penciling down. All of the penciling is done. Everything is done. I don't. Once I have everything down, and I no longer have to go back and, retrace or erase things and redraw things, everything is laid out. The heaviest part of the work is done. The heaviest part is done. The heavy lifting is done. Now with the inking, since I know that I don't have to redraw anything or erase anything, I can go over with the marker or the ink, and I can go faster because everything is laid out. Now it's still tedious because I'm just tracing over the same lines that I used in pencil. So it's still tedious nonetheless. But I don't spend as much time on the inking part because the outline is already done. It's already mapped out. It's already set. Everything is to my liking. I'm good with this. So I can go over with the ink now. I can put the ink over the pencil and just trace over it. I'm moving faster now. I still gotta go over all the lines, but I'm moving faster now. So that part, and depending on how detailed it is, obviously will be the amount of time I spend inking. But the fact that everything else is drawn out already in the beginning, I'm good. I can tolerate the inking process. I can tolerate it. There are times where I want to get over with myself, but most of the times I can tolerate it. Okay, so that is in the middle. That's kind of like a love-hate relationship right there. That's in the middle. The inking. My least favorite is the penciling or the composition. Okay, or the outline. My love-hate is the inking process. I can move along faster now. All the outlines and penciling is done. I'm good. I can move faster. Now, my most favorite is the final process of the coloring or painting and adding the other highlights. I love that part. One, it's faster because usually with paint or markers, because of the bristles or the tips are wider, you can add more ink or add more paint to a surface, and you can cover a greater surface in less strokes. So what may have taken you 5 minutes to do half of the outline, well, what may have taken you 30 minutes to do the penciling may take you 10 minutes to do the inking, but could take you 5 or 10 minutes to do the coloring or the painting, because the paintbrush is so wide or the markers are so wide that you can cover a greater surface in a short amount of time. Okay? So the wider the brush, the more paint you can apply in less time. The wider the marker, the more marker you can apply in less time. Meaning you can, like, each process you do is less time than the process before. And then of course you add on the highlights and maybe some of the shadows, things of that nature. If you want to add some, a certain effect to the background or a certain effect to the character or the subject matter that you're drawing or painting, yeah, that add a little bit. But generally speaking, my most favorite is the coloring or the painting aspect of it, the inking, the coloring, ink, or painting aspect of it, because I now know where everything is. Like I said, I have the image in my head, so I now know where everything is. I know where all the colors should be and where I want them to be. If I want to add a certain effect, I know what color I need to do, or I know what color I need to use. I know how much of a certain color I need to use. I know where the highlights will go, where the shadows will go, where the reflective shadows will go. I know all that goes from the beginning. I just have to go through this tedious process in the beginning to get to my favorite part, which is the coloring and the adding of the highlights and things of that nature. Okay, so that's my most favorite part, is when I get to the coloring. As you see here, you see this. I haven't finished this off yet because the idea I have in my head. I have a few ideas in my head, and I want to pick out the best one. Shoot. But I know that, see, I have to use paint to get this whole thing. Now, once I start putting the actual subject on canvas, I go through the process all over again. The outline, the trying to figure out where things are going to go, the composition of it, what that's what I want to have on there. Once I have the composition down, the coloring will be a breeze. That's mainly why most of my drawing videos take so long. It's not the coloring part; it's the penciling and the inking part. Once I get to the coloring part, I'm gone. I'm in the zone. I'm already there. So that's what that's about. Anyway, hope y'all enjoyed my video. I'll be finishing this one soon though. I'll be finishing it soon. I got another one I gotta finish myself. I got another little piece I gotta finish. So I like to do. Anyway, thank you all for watching this video. Leave a comment down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you all later. Peace.